we're live. Excellent. Okay, everything's looking good. I've updated our MooBot stuff. Drop the channel into Discord. Aww. Vic won't be able to make it. He's heading to sleep.
I forget what it's called, but I did write it down somewhere.
I forget what
that sailor's good luck charm from before we headed off. They were like, well, I haven't traveled much anymore. I won't need this. And they like gave it to me, and then I have like we all got weapons.
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. We'll go over all of that in the recap as well. Gonna send out that tweet.
It's, yeah. The good songs. Oh, no, that was Rindarin and Liam, wasn't it? The Watchtower.
Yes. Rindarin was the only
they had the stash. They had the stash of things.
Yeah.
Oh, I picked out his weapons. That's right. For a little kind of disguise method.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. We're getting through our recap before we've even fully gone on screen.
I'll just do a tweet. A bluebird message. Actually, I'll just retweet yours.
That works.
Cheeky and easier.
Okay. Tweet has been tweeted. And we should be going on screen right now. Hey! Hello, everyone. Hello, wonderful scribblers. What's up, Knight? How's it going? Good day, sir. Or good evening. Good evening, everyone. And welcome back to our Heroes of Iyastera campaign session. It's been a little while. Funny how when we end up postponing one of our sessions for an every other week game, it feels like it's been forever. I'm so excited to be back. My apologies that we ended up missing our last session, but I really hope that you folks enjoyed the rerun of our last session. Or sort of live chat, rewatch, replay of the introduction of our dear Fenn here, our newest hero of Iyastera. So we are ready to get back into the story tonight.
Ooh.
Hatchling, thank you so much. For
so
the
loud, it's awesome.
Scribble. That was
a doozy.
Loud. That was quite the fanfare. Oh my goodness. Way to get us started.
You owe me a new MacBook. So
cheers to you.
my speaker's blue.
Did you just blow out your ears? Did you give yourself a bomb blast?
Bomb blast. Yeah.
So we normally do quite a bit of catching up in the pre-stream Zoom call, but I think I was so wrapped up with prep and we were talking about a few other things. But how have you guys been for the past few weeks? Because it's been a few weeks. I've missed you guys.
It's been hectic.
Yeah.
In not in a bad way necessarily, but I've just finished the game well and truly now, and it's with layout.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. But I'm taking a bit of a work break, at least for this week.
Yeah.
It's Drac!
Oh my gosh! Hello! Drac returns! Hello, friend. How are you? Speaking of people we haven't caught up with in some time, drop it in the chat, unless you're happily lurking, in which case lurk away to your friend, but it's so good to see you.
We love you and we miss you.
So good to see you. Yeah, a little bit chaotic. I feel like this is a weird time of year. I tweeted out earlier, but my whole house is packed up now. I've just got 2 weeks-ish, a week and a half, 2-ish weeks before I'm, maybe like 2.5 weeks before I'm like gone.
Is it beginning of May, or that you'll be in Belgium?
Set by second week of May.
Mm-hmm.
I might shift it a little bit here and there. I can't shift it too much because bringing a dog over to Europe, you've got to be pretty careful with the timing. So yeah, by the end of the second week of May, but I'm doing a little bit of traveling to say farewell to folks after that first week, like leading up to the departure. So I'll be on the road, doing a little bit of a road warrior kind of thing. Drac doing okay, also doing a lot. No way. I don't believe it. What?
Oh, Drac? Drac doing a lot!
You don't do anything ever.
What?
Excellent. So as you folks can see, we are lacking our dearest hedge witch, Kendis Brackenhill, this evening. Sash had some other stuff that they had going on, but Kendis is still going to be part of the story, NPC'd by yours truly. I'll be your herb witch this evening, which will be fun, and quite an evening it will be. So, you guys remember what happened last time? Fenn, you remember your grand entrance?
Mm-hmm.
So
it was something.
It was quite an introduction to the rest of Iyastera, I think, for you folks. So we're gonna go ahead and get some background music going. What? Requested too many new songs too quickly. I requested one song. What the heck, Pretzel? Are you having a moment?
It's one song too many.
I clicked one.
No songs allowed. No music.
I don't want combat. No, we're not going right. Combat ended.
Very much so. Well, unless you count the wolves, devouring bodies as combat.
That's true. All right, can you hear that? How's that audio level?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Excellent. So we can go into a little bit of a recap and just jump right in. So our last session focused on preparations for a brand new adventure. For you, Marlowe, getting ready to embark upon a new quest, a new journey, find yourself back out into the wide world of Iyastera, across the realms once again.
Back to where I'm comfortable.
Back to where you're comfortable, because you are very much a nomad, an explorer, a treasure hunter, as it says in your monologue, in your introduction. Strike a dramatic pose. So you are certainly more comfortable on the road, and it's quite possible that after the past couple of weeks, a few weeks in Glenfarra, while beautiful and peaceful and unsettling, eye-opening, a lot of interesting things happening with these interesting new characters, new friends that you've met. You're probably itching to get moving again. Bomb, Kendis, for these two Glenfarra natives, this is maybe not your first time departing for Kendis's situation. Kendis, of course, coming from elsewhere and settling in Glenfarra, but having been here long enough to absolutely be able to call Glenfarra their home. And Bomb, this is your home. You have lived here your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And to now find this opportunity as the last of the Timbersmiths to venture out into the world in search of a cure, perhaps, answers, if nothing else, as to why these strange events are happening. What happened with the spring? What is this strange device that Aorad, in the chat there, managed to pry from the roots of that mother tree. So you were able to gain some information. It's absolutely arcane, crafted by someone who is quite skilled in the art of magitech and the art of artificery. Kendis, thinking that it reminded them a little bit of someone that they worked with in the Athenaeum itself. Marlowe, there are some things that you found familiar or interesting about this device as well, but you hesitated to share a lot of that information with the larger...
What information?
No, there's no backstory to be revealed at some point when the time is right, because you know just as well as anyone that information can be used as a tool, and the timing of the reveal of that information can also be significant. So you found out some more wow, redundant. You also learned, Bomb, that there was really only one place that the average person might be able to find things of this nature. You spoke to Rin, the captain of the Glenfarren Watch, and he told you of the Goblin Market, this elusive, infamous black market.
That we've definitely never heard of before.
That you've absolutely never heard of before in this story. Gobos of Iyastera are another story. But you'll have the chance to seek it out. You know a few things about it already, that it only appears on the night of a new moon in a different location each time, each cycle. And that it's hard to really access the Goblin Market without knowing someone, without having either been there before yourself or being pointed in the right direction. Rin couldn't give you more information than that, as it came from a past that he was trying to leave far, far behind him after his initial arrival to Glenfarren to start a new life.
Yeah.
So you made your preparations, you embarked. You were filled with hope and curiosity and the sense of adventure when adventure found you. Perhaps before you were quite ready. As you began to make camp your first night. Bit too far away from the Glenfarren, the edge of the Glenfarren forest to necessarily turn back, but you made camp. And some interesting people began to approach the circle of light that your campfire was emanating. Fenn, this very interesting elven individual, pops up, seemingly in a hurry, a little bit stressed, a little bit frazzled, a little bit bruised and battered, a little worse for wear, but very, very earnestly looking to share the warmth of your fire. Bomb, you were the first interaction with Fenn. All others were sleeping, unaware. But before you could really get the story and learn more about this newcomer, your campsite was attacked by 4 assailants who seemed to be after your newfound friend. After some combat that very, very quickly revealed some of the powers and capabilities that you had not had to use in the safety of Glenfarren, with the one surviving assailant disappearing into the night, you are all struck with this realization that you are definitely not in Glenfarren anymore. There's a new world out here, filled with very interesting, very incredible, very dangerous things. And ready or not, your adventure now is truly beginning. So with that, let's return to Iyastera. And we are back. Ooh, so, you're sitting around the campfire. Again, that final assailant. Where is my music? That final assailant having disappeared into the night. Choosing to allow this one, perhaps because of his youth, couldn't be more than a teenager. Seemingly confused, falling in with the wrong crowd at the wrong time, that sort of thing. Let him go after demolishing the rest of them, to be quite honest, with your knives and blade work and spells and hellish rebukes. All of you kind of look at each other with this newfound appreciation. At least the three, Marlowe, Baum, and Kendis, not really having seen these types of abilities from each other before. And as it was noted pre-stream, Marlowe, that hellish rebuke is quite possibly one of the most fearsome things that we've seen in this campaign so far. It's
So
completely burning. I'm not gonna speak for y'all and what y'all decide to do, but completely burning to a crisp, into a pile of ash. One of these bandits, one of
They had
these
murder on the
assailants.
mind. They deserve to be banned.
They had something on the mind. Fenn. These were the one-time companions that you had previously in the town of the very small seaside town of Felbray, farther to the west, along the rocky cliffs of the Monair coastline. They were after you. They were after something you carried, but before you departed, you realized that they had some information about you that was unexpected, that caused all of those fears ever since you left home. Those fears of trusting, those fears of staying in one place for too long, to kick into gear once again, sending you fleeing as quickly as you could, right into the perhaps hesitantly welcoming arms of this party. So that is where we will begin. Last time you were able to reveal a little bit of that book that you carried, that you had with you, that those bandits, we'll call them, were after. But only really learning that there was definitely something more to it. Marlowe, you were able to pick that lock very, very masterfully and set off the trap. The lightning rune that was embedded within the mechanism. Again, a very sophisticated blending of magic and technology with that lock.
I recognize that rune at all?
You've worked with locks like that before, not exactly like that one. That was probably one of the more difficult locks you've had to pick. There was a high DC, and I think you rolled a nat 20.
Yeah, you sure did. Right when I needed it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But the book itself would not open.
Nope.
The lock was undone, is undone. But perhaps the book needs something a little bit more. And I think it was Kendis. Kendis took a look. I'm playing Kendis this evening, so I suppose I'll jump right into it. I don't like the idea of that book being out. It reeks of something unnatural, something necromantic. I don't like it. Ruffles the feathers uncomfortably. And I don't like being disturbed when I'm sleeping. Looking now back at you, Fenn, with a very sharp, piercing gaze, made even more threatening once you were able to see the barrage of ice that they were able to summon from the sky itself.
My apologies.
I think we're going to require more than apologies.
I'm happy to provide anything you ask. I'm aware I've put you in quite a bit of a bind.
Is it still the middle of the night?
It is.
Okay.
You had just fallen asleep And
That's
Bomb
right.
was still in the middle of the first watch when everything went down.
To get some rest. It's not the time for questioning, Hedgewitch.
I
You said
suppose things
yourself
can wait till
you were
morning.
tired.
I'm tired, and now I'm cranky. Well, we're
I
not
fear we
sleeping
sh-
here, are we?
Of course not, no. I have called on some, shall we say, friends to clear the area of any death.
As long as these friends don't bring more weapons and dark tomes to our
Very natural.
campsite, then I suppose they can do as they will.
You would approve. There are a bunch of wolves, a pack of wolves.
Very good,
You're
Timbersmith.
You're friends with wolves?
I'm friends with most creatures around Glenferra. Mainly squirrels. They seem to have a special bond with me. Probably they frequent the Knotless Woods often. There are multiple families there, as are my family.
Not just you, they seem keen on, is it?
No, it seems others too, which I'm very pleased about. So yes, we should move from this area and let the wolves have their feed.
I tuck the book away in the same pouch that the spider is in. Because I'm just storing all of the arcane things away in my bag.
That's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, well,
I know what you mean.
Bombs
I know
is
what you
only
mean.
slightly through the work on the sculpture that they're going to stash the spider within. So the carving isn't quite there yet, because he didn't have a chance to rest.
I'm not hoarding arcane artifacts. I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know what you're implying here.
So, Fenn, do you consent to this book being kept?
Yeah, I think they don't want to cause any argument, or just they don't want to ruffle any more feathers, no pun intended.
And
So where will we set up camp next?
We may as well head in the same direction of the harbour and the port.
so that is something that,
West.
yeah, that is something that you were kind of deciding previously. That you wanted to seek out the Goblin Market, but I think by looking for answers in the Athenaeum.
That was right, yeah.
We wanted to head towards Yokul.
Yeah, and if something changes on route, then we'll go with it.
Well, I do know that you haven't really told Fenn of what's going on.
And knows you're going to Felbray, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because they've just come from there, so like, oh, I can show you the way.
Yeah, I don't know how much we trust Fenn just yet.
And yet you're all about to set up camp together, so you are able to find a little bit farther along, closer to the banks if you were to travel. Depends on how much you want to travel tonight. There are different clusters of trees in this lightly wooded area as the landscape turns into grassland, plains.
I think we definitely want a little bit of cover.
Okay.
Mm.
So you're easily able to find some cover amongst some of these trees as well. Not the same ones that you were able to, with a nat 20 dagger, pin one of the bandits to. You'll travel a little bit farther, a little bit closer to the River Marne, the largest river that more or less bisects Monair. So that is going to be your first point of crossing as you begin your trek westward. So you're closer to that direction. You begin to make your camp.
Bomb goes up to one of the trees and lays his hand, his big hand on one of the trunks. He's like, just watch over us. Or my mother will have words with you. He kind of glances down at the pot plant, nettle pot plant.
Yeah, the nettles rustle menacingly. As menacing as a nettle plant can be. Which
And then
actually
Bond-
can be quite menacing. Nettles sting.
It's true. They
Yeah.
aren't called stinging nettles for nothing.
Heckin' right.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a lot of them in the U.S., so that was a very painful meeting when I ran into them the first time here. Literally ran into them.
And Bomb he collects some branches, some fallen branches, and forms a fire, and then uses Druidcraft to light it.
Perfect.
Cinnabomb.
I believe Kendis was up for what's next, but I'm happy to take lead if you want a bit more rest.
I could do with some recovery of energy. That spell took quite a bit out of me. Haven't had to use things like that for many years. Thank you, Marlowe. Kendis
Fenn,
flies
why
up to
don't
roost.
you take watch with me?
Yes, of course. It's like, oh, I'm being included. Yes.
Character dialogue, go!
Marlowe's also their favorite at the moment because Marlowe's the only one they've met before. It's like, oh, it's Marlowe.
Yes.
I know them!
And you recognized Marlowe instantly. Marlowe, it took you a little bit longer to make those connections as you were working at the time.
Because I hadn't talked to them on that ship.
You
That wasn't my
hadn't.
first ship.
Yeah, that was not your first ship. So perhaps it left a bit more of an impression on Fenn than it did on you. But the fire is crackling warmly, almost comfortingly at your backs now as you stare out into the night, which right now is comparatively peaceful, with only the very faint howling of wolves a little bit farther in the distance. Bomb. They sound
Hedge witch.
hungry.
Have any lavender?
Did you say how many, Lavender?
Do you have any?
Of course I do. Would you like some?
Yes, I will take a bath in the river.
Don't stray far. Be safe. She hands you some lavender. Some of the dried petals, as well as a little bit of oil, lavender oil, that she keeps with her as well.
That's what Bomb does. He goes down to the riverbank,
Excellent. Thank
puts
you,
the pot
Kaitlin.
plant to one side,
Yay.
and takes a bath in the
I
river.
love that. Bath bomb. Okay.
Bath bomb.
While that's happening, Marlowe.
I'm so
Fenn,
hygienic now.
It's gonna
He's learning.
smell like lavender flowers. Whoa.
Your previous companions didn't seem too keen on you.
No. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, you've seen the book for yourself. We were all keen on ownership of such an item.
What is it that brought you to this book, if I may ask?
Well, we all together, I suppose, came across it in the market, and
The market.
yes, the do you know of the Goblin Market?
Do I? Have I ever heard of that?
You roll a history check for me. Let's see what small snippets you may or may not be able to remember.
History. 17.
Okay. You may have heard it mentioned once by one of your employers, but very fleeting. You don't quite remember the context. But you remember that it was mentioned with a tone of derision, of judgment. saying, who on earth would want to be associated with such things as that kind of thing.
Like looking down on it.
Very much so. It's something very distasteful. You don't really know much more than that, and anything else you know as well from Baum, who was able to mention some of it from Rinderin, that it's illicit, it's black market kind of stuff. But you don't really know anything concrete, and you yourself have never encountered it.
But I know that from Baum, that is a point of interest.
Very much so, and that is where one of the places where you might find information about that spider device.
Oh, is it?
That's what came up.
Not that I would know this.
You don't know.
There's
Oh
no
my
correlation between the spider and the goblin market. I don't know what you mean.
The Spider and the Goblin
What are you
sounds
suggesting?
like a great rock band.
The spider and the goblin, yeah.
Yeah, write that down.
Chat, write that down.
Take note.
The goblin market.
Yes, a place of several more illicit arcane items. Many things of interest, such as the book.
How did you come to be at the goblin market?
I was conversing with a man in Felbray, and he let slip that he had some knowledge of it. He gave me this, and I'll hold out the coin that he gave me, the silver coin. I was set out, and just outside of Felbray, as I was wandering, I heard this music, and was drawn there.
Is there a chance you might be able to find it again? I know the location changes, but...
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not even sure exactly what this coin does, but I was sure it had something to do with it. As with many things, I sort of stumbled my way through. But it's going to be a long way away until the next one. This was just a few days ago, the new moon, so the next month is almost a month off.
You may be useful to us yet, stowaway. Fenn. What, I'm sure, well, you were there to see what befell your previous companions.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know we can trust you?
I feel I've been relatively forthcoming so far. I mean, many people keep this whole goblin market stuff a secret. I figured I'd tell you the truth on that one.
It's fair. I'll grant you that.
And I let you keep the book.
I did unlock it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's more use to you than me, clearly, with your set of skills.
Speaking of, what are your sets of skills?
I mean, as you no doubt saw earlier, I'm relatively handy with a sword. And I suppose I've been dabbling in a little magic.
Curious sword, that.
Indeed.
So many bits!
Thank you again, Coda Clan. Have a nice night.
What brings you to Felbray? What are you headed there for?
I've been traveling all over, searching for, searching for adventure, interesting situations, perhaps not as interesting as tonight. That was a little of a surprise. I wasn't expecting that I'd been pursued from the town.
You don't say.
Yeah, I am sorry about that.
Water under the bridge, as they say.
I'm glad.
So tell me, my current traveling companions, Bomb and Kendis.
I thought his name was Mob.
It's not. He's doing his best.
Oh.
I don't believe he's been out of Glenfarra much.
I know from experience, leaving one's home for the first time is certainly a little bit of a shock.
Where is it that you call home?
Tashkil.
You don't say.
I mean, the first time I saw you was my first crossing. Before that, I'd never left.
That was my third or fourth ship at the time, if I remember correctly.
You were a relatively experienced sailor then.
Traveled, to say the least.
What brings you so far inland?
There was a war forged. And a stream. And a bit of a situation that we handled. But I'm always one for adventure and always on the hunt for knowledge, you could say. So I go where the wind takes me.
Fenn's face lights up. Like, I feel like we're going to be fast friends.
Fenn's just like, we're kindred souls.
Total fan moment. Marlowe fan club.
Yeah.
1 of 1, Fenn.
Yeah. I'm the captain of the fan club that is just me.
That's adorable.
It's enough. It's enough for most.
You hear sort of a weird snorting sound from higher up in the branches. Could have been a snore, could have been Kendis hiding some laughter. Either way, it doesn't happen again, and silence falls once more.
Does anything happen during our watch?
Roll perception. Both of you. Or you can do an assisted roll. So the way we do assisted rolls is that whoever is helping the primary, if you're the primary, roll as you typically would. If you are assisting, you add whatever your modifier would be to the primary's roll. I prefer doing that versus rolling with traditional advantage. You roll twice and take the higher, because you could always roll like a 1 and a 2. I like an assisted roll to be a truly assisted bonus.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like that.
I can assist Marlowe and give a +1.
Oh, okay. So that brings me to 25.
Nice. Very nice.
Do I see anything?
You have a moment of extreme awareness of the universe around you.
The same atoms.
We are made of stardust. The night is calm, and the things that you hear are the natural sounds that you have become more accustomed to, being on land within Glenfarra. Slightly different here. You don't quite hear the howling of the wolves in the distance anymore, but the soft, shifting of the leaves and the trees as a gentle breeze comes through. You hear the gentle sloshing of the river farther on. You smell hints of lavender from Baum's bath as well. Some crickets, some bugs here and there. Just the very natural and right now peaceful sounds of the night. Some sap popping, cracking in the fire behind you. But nothing unusual, nothing, well, more unusual than you would expect. No danger right now.
Oh?
Thank you, Papaya Pariah, for the follow.
Hi.
You hear a distant fanfare oscillating.
Way off in the distance.
Perhaps from somehow carrying all the way here from Glenfarra, from the good song home. Some sort of strange flute.
How long has it been since we first took watch?
At this point, with that kind of conversation delving in, it's probably about time for the next watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like grab hold of a lower branch and kind of like flick it against like the upper branches to wake Kendis up.
You do so, and it snaps back a little bit faster than you expected. And Kendis goes, What? 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 Who? Oh.
It's your watch.
So it is. All right. Very well. Get to sleep, you two.
There's some extra kindling in the fire for you.
Thank you, Marlowe. Kendis begins their watch, brewing a small mug of tea that she brought with her that they brought with them from their home. Peppermint. Something to help sharpen the senses, as this watch is going to take you all into the next morning. And looking at Kendis's, I don't have Kendis's stats in front of me. We're gonna roll with it. Literally roll with it.
Have a guess. Educated guess.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, same. It passes without any incident. Bomb. You've been enjoying your bath in the river. The River Marne is quite vast. You can't go too far into the river without the current taking hold. So you're more along the riverbanks. About, we'll say, depending on the size of the ship, 3 to 4 could probably fit abreast of each other across the width of this river.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ford through it. It's definitely too vast for that.
No, just.
And when I say ships, I'm talking river boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like the long boats, the narrow boats that you see in the canals. These are like proper river boats that will end up trading goods or people up and down the river, up and down the country.
At some point during this, he uses shape water to form a small dam in the flow. Okay. And to catch some fish swimming downriver, almost like a kind of barrier.
Okay.
And then he spears them with his dagger.
Very nice.
So he gets the morning breakfast basically.
Absolutely.
Just some trout.
So I would say, well, you haven't necessarily been used to, you've fished before. Go ahead and roll a d6 for me. You're sleeping.
Am I?
Yeah.
Probably. So this isn't going to be a roll to see if you do manage to catch fish, because I would say with your focus, with your ability to shape the water itself,
Yeah.
and the fact that you have fished before, I would say roll a d6 to see how many fish you're able to catch.
Okay. 3.
3? You catch 3 fish. Decent sized. It's not a bad addition to the rations that you would already have. And Rin, along with some of the other tools, some of the other weapons that he was able to provide, did kind of top off your rations as well.
Yeah. This is the treat.
Yeah.
A treat of trout.
Trout treat.
Trout treat. That's about it, really.
Okay. So as this ends, as you make your way back to the crackling fire, greeted with a curt timbersmith, I see you've caught some fish. Kendis perks up a bit.
Rainbow trout, very nice.
Well, the fire's still nice and hot, and looks like the sun is beginning to rise.
Yeah, he kind of puts them on a stick, like skewers them, 3 of them, and then lays them across the on the above the fire.
Excellent. The smell of fresh roasting fish begins to stir you too, Marlowe and Fenn, from your slumber. The sound of life and of movement around you as the sun begins to warm the sky. So you all have now benefited from a long rest. In case you had not recovered any expended spell slots or hit points or anything like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and recover those now.
HP, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
And as this is happening, as you're now roasting the fish, nice and blackened, Kendis speaks up. So, are we off to this Felbray then?
Yes, definitely. This fish will only keep me filled for so long.
I'm sure we can resupply in Felbray. Fenn?
Yes.
It appears as though you're sticking with us for a while longer at least. You're not so excited. I don't know if Marlowe has told you anything about what our intent is.
Not beyond your travel to Felbray. What is your business there?
Tom gets really shy. He goes redder than he already is, and he kind of like turns away. He's like, I'm not wanted here. And he just kind of and then he kind of skulks off with one of the
Not
fish.
me. Couldn't be me.
Our business is our own, at least until we deem that you can be trusted.
Very well.
For now, you can help us get to Felbray.
Of course. I owe you all a debt.
Indeed. I'm not quite good at the voice, but I'm trying to get Kendis's...
The personality is perfect. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hope we're doing you proud, Spirit Jam.
Then Fenn, I guess it's down to you to lead the way. Do you know the way from here? I know we took a shortcut across the hills.
Yes, I should do. Presumably our route is not so different from the way Fenn came.
It wouldn't be. You definitely had the intent of trying to hide and vary your path a little bit more. You were trying to be more covert, I suppose we'll say, as you're traveling through the hills. But you do know that once you are able to cross the river, which a little bit farther south from here, you'll find a river crossing, kind of a trading post, called Willow Grove. And you'll be able to get a ferry across there, if you so wish.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll relay this to the group.
Past that, you do have some options. And why did I not send you guys the map? I'm gonna do that now is Discord preferable? Let me do that and drop this in here.
Yep.
And that way we can kind of follow along in that manner. And I'll put it up on the screen again as well. So stand by just a moment while I do that. Here we go. So as I'm pulling this up, I'll at least continue along with the description. There is, after you cross the river at Willow Grove, you would probably first hit, if you continue along that path, the larger town of Capal, which Fenn, you kind of skirted around. You didn't really go to Capal, but of course you could see it. You're within range, I suppose we can say. Capal, as you would know, Fenn. The rest of you, Marlowe, you wouldn't have spent this much time inland anyway. Capal is known for its equestrianism. A lot of horse ranchers and trainers there. It is right on the foothills of the larger, more wild hill country of Monair as it continues to go west. And those hills, with the rugged terrain and dangers within, lie between Capal and Felbray. So you have a choice. After you cross, you can either go to Capal or you can cut through the hills directly and make your way to the smaller fishing village and small port of Felbray. And now that I've said that, I'll be able to actually pull up the map. Can only focus on so many things at once, I'm sorry.
You're good.
We're very much taking your lead then, Fenn.
Yeah, I guess I'll, again, talk about these two options and be like, I didn't go through Capal when I travelled, but if we're wanting a slightly safer route, that would be the option, although it's slightly longer.
It'll take a little bit long. Well, it'll even out.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Honestly, because the hills are beyond Capal, but if you wanted to avoid, for whatever reason, it will take some time to go through the town of Capal. But either way, you're gonna have to go through the hills. It's a little bit farther south, so you could make a beeline. If you were to make a beeline from where you'll end up on the other side of Willow Grove, you would just cut straight through the hills, the rest of the plains and the hills, to Felbray. So it depends. Do you want to go to Capal and use that as like an overnight point, because it'll take some time to travel as well, or you would end up camping in the hills? How quickly do you want to get there? What is your urgency?
We're in no major hurry. We should time it so we can rest up in the small village.
Personally, I'm rather curious
Hmm.
to see what the quicker route takes.
To cut straight through the hills.
I mean, now that I have company and I'm in a group, I'm no longer as nervous about camping out in the wilds. Alone it would be dangerous, but together I'm sure it'd be no trouble.
It's sometimes the safest place.
You're a little wary of inns right now, Fenn.
Yeah.
Yeah. for
I
reasons that
think
the
we
rest
could-
of the party doesn't know yet.
Save a bit of time on save a bit on digging into our rations. Should we choose to take quicker eat?
This is a good idea.
Okay. So looking at the map, and I've sent it all to you.
Hmm.
You'll have to zoom in a bit, and I'm going to pull it up on the screen as well. Of course, unfortunately, not everyone will be able to see where I'm pointing. However, let's go ahead and shift it over. So for those of you who have not seen this yet, this is my very poor attempt at cartography using Incarnate. I'm just gonna throw that up there. Whoa! Oh, the Zoom, or rather the Google Meets is still on there. That's okay though. So the party is in Monair. Boop, boop, boop. Let me crop this down. Monair, of course, is at central landmass.
Mm-hmm.
Let me transition that one. There you go. Now I can see all of your lovely faces. So, on the top part, on the northern part of Monair, you see that lake that looks a bit like an eye. That is where the mother tree lies within Glenfarra. And that is the vastness of the Glenfarran forest. So you, when you exited the woods, you were in the square below that. You were a little bit into the square farther below that. That river actually needs to stretch farther up. My apologies. It goes up and actually meets with part of the forest. Each square takes about 2 days to travel. So you have been able to reach the edge of the river, and you're going to continue on. It's going to take about a day.
Yep.
Until you are well into the hills from the river crossing. But you're not too far from Willow Grove right now. You would be able to get there. I do need to update that map. That was like one of my earlier iterations of this. I should have had the foresight to fix that before a streamed campaign began. That's
good.
Okay. But you'd be able to get there in probably a couple of hours. It's not too far walking. Fenn, you know exactly how to get there.
Sounds welcoming, Willow Grove. Anything that mentions trees is good in my book.
Yes. So Willow Grove is not so much a town or a village or even a settlement. It really is just a stopping point for the trade.
Crossing.
Yeah, it's a crossing point. You'd be able to get a ferry across at some sort of price, of course. Fenn, you had to dish out some coin. The bit that you had to get the crossing the first time. We'll say you're able to make it there fairly easily. Along the river, as you travel a little bit farther south, you'll see the signs of trade. Nothing really coming up this far north necessarily. Willow Grove is going to be the most northern river crossing, the closest one to Glenfarra. So some of the trading caravans that would come from Glenfarra would often meet here. There are some docks. There is a docking point where up to maybe 2-3 boats could be docked at any one point. You have managers there who are waiting for a manifest to keep track of who's coming, who's going. As you're walking up, it's pretty quiet this early in the morning. There are 2 boats docked currently. One, it looks like it is preparing for preparations to go back south. You see people going over cargo, loading things back onto the boat. strapping things down, having some conversations with the dockmaster there. Willow Grove has only a few buildings. You have a couple of houses, really, for the people who would live there. One house really for the dockmaster, who stays there. And then you actually have like a small, it looks like a shop, almost. Fenn, you know this to be sort of a second-hand trade kind of post. The owner of this post, an elderly halfling, you were able to get a little bit of information on your way out to Felbray the first time. You kind of stopped by here, not too long, but this is the kind of place where people can kind of drop off unwanted things, find curious things. With as many travelers that'll be hitting up these posts, she ends up accruing some weird miscellaneous stuff from time to time. A lot of books.
So it's kind of like a curious shop.
Yeah, it's like, that's the word I was looking for. Curious. It's like a little curious shop.
I want to stop in.
You want to stop it?
I do.
Yeah, I feel like Fenn would gauge that Marlowe would be interested and absolutely be like, this is a thing here. I think you will like it.
Absolutely. So you're able to stop in. Very small, very cramped. It's a one-story building. The front of it, of course, is this curio shop. As you open the door, you hear a small tinkling of bells that are attached to the door itself to alert the shopkeep to any newcomers. Yep, exactly. So we're gonna do this.
Does anyone else come in with me?
I'm coming in.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to the, what did you call it? The crossing master, the harbour master, the ferry master?
The dockmaster.
Dockmaster. I'm going to talk to them, the halfling.
That's not the one I want either. That's not the music I want. Stop it. Stop it. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on with Pretzel right now. This is fine.
Pretzel does not rock.
Pretzel does not rock sometimes. Shopping montage. Okay, so you walk in, you hear that tinkling of bells. And you're hit with the smell of old books. Not quite the same way that you've seen it in some of the grander or larger libraries that you've seen, Marlowe.
Unlike the Vervains.
Not quite like the Vervains or even Kendis's home, because Kendis, of course, has a collection of books and tomes and journals and notes as well. But these books have a very interesting smell of not just that kind of musty parchment, but almost of a collection of strange spices. There's the faint smell of like lingering incense as well. It is a little musty in there. You have books on one side of the small shop, and it's like kind of a narrow entranceway before it opens up into these different shelves, all built into the walls. It's very cluttered, very full of like bits and pieces and odds and ends. You've got books on one side, interspersed with small like brass spyglasses, some candles, tiny figurines, a couple that seem similar to the one that Ren gave you, Marlowe, actually, of these twisting different shapes of sea glass.
Is there anything arcane or of a magical property I would know, because...
So that would be an interesting one, because you don't necessarily have the ability to sense it.
But I have an item.
Oh,
that can.
do.
I do.
You do have an item, so share again what this item is and what it does for the people who maybe did not see that episode of Chill Creation.
It was given to me by an employer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is too metagamey though, because the other party members would not know about its existence.
Before. Not at all. But
they don't know what it does or that I have it.
No.
Or why. And I have not let on that it exists or that it's anything like that it does anything.
This is the first unveiling of it on stream. So read again how it detects things though. Because I don't have that in front of me at the moment.
It will emit a soft glow, much like Sting from Lord of the Rings, in the presence of the arcane.
Okay.
And I can use the feature to determine the location of magical items, traps, or locks within 60 feet. Excellent. So it essentially lets me cast Detect Magic up to 3 times per long rest.
Yes, it does. Excellent.
You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Allergies have been killing me lately.
Oh, no, I feel that.
And with moving house and packing stuff up in boxes, I've breathed in a lot of dusty, mustiness in my house. Okay. So, use this. It's kind of a passive effect until, once you actually kind of trigger that effect. As you wander around looking at the shelves and the walls, you don't see the shopkeep yet, of course. There's another door that leads back behind the sort of merchant's desk. There's another door back there, just slightly ajar. You're gazing amongst the shelves, taking a sly look at this device that you wear, that you keep. You don't see anything or notice anything in particular that is emanating in the way you would expect. You first were looking at these different devices, these mirrors, these spyglasses, these compasses, these different things, small figurines, small little carvings of stone and wood, jewelry. Oftentimes jewelry can sometimes carry different properties. Not so much here, and the random miscellaneous assortment of rings and necklaces, and even a strange-looking tiara that is haphazardly displayed without any real rhyme or reason or organization amongst all these other sundries. But a couple of the candles actually trigger a response, and you see a soft glow. A slightly blue-hued glow of divination magic. As you get closer to a couple of these candles. They seem very plain, kind of thicker pillar candles. One seems to have been used already. They are a very, very pale blue. No clear markings on them. And the wax is almost translucent, actually.
I reached for one to, turn it over, investigate it.
Okay. For that one, since you're inspecting it a little bit closer, go ahead and roll investigation for me.
$22.
Dang, these rolls! Okay. At first glance, it seems very basic, very standard. It feels like normal wax, smells like normal wax. You're taking a look. You see on the bottom of the candle. It doesn't have a candle holder or anything like that, but there is a small kind of silver-toned plate, a round plate, set within the base of the candle, with a very simple will say embossed, like pressed into the metal design of an eye on both of these candles. It's not a rune that you recognize necessarily. It doesn't seem like a rune or like a different sort of marking. But within this candle, as you get a closer look, especially with the 22, you see small flakes of some sort of metallic, like silver flakes within the wax itself, possibly as the candle was poured.
Has the shopkeep come out at all? At any point?
As you are looking at this candle, because I didn't want to interrupt your investigation of the candle, almost on cue, you do hear the back door creak open a little bit more. Guests! Guests! Customers! Welcome, welcome. I see you already found something you like. What brings you here? Do you have something to trade? Are you looking for something in particular? And you see someone who should be way calmer, way more subdued this early in the morning. I mean, really, the sun just rose a couple of hours ago, to be honest. A small, you guys say crusty, musty, a wizened looking female halfling. She comes up. She's got this gray, curly hair that seems to be kind of with a life of its own, just kind of spraying out in these different directions, half-heartedly tamed with a headscarf that's tied behind her back, or tied behind the back of her head. She's got these big glasses that amplify her eyes to the point where she almost looks like some strange little bird, like an owl-like eyes.
Just like Baba Yaga.
And she elevates in height a little bit as she walks up and then leans her elbows on the surface of the desk, the table in the back, and you would assume that there's some sort of step stool or some sort of ladder that brings her to the appropriate height so that she's looking at you closer to eye level. I'll give those to you, dearie, for just, what did I get them for? No matter, 7 copper.
What is it that it does?
Have no idea. But the nice candles, I tried burning one of them. Doesn't really smell like much. I was disappointed. I would have kept them for myself, but there it is. I've had those for a few weeks. And as you look at the other candle, the one that you did not pick up, it does look like it had been tested. The wick is burnt, and some of the wax has melted, revealing some of those little flecks of silver on the surface.
7 copper for the pair.
Mm-hmm.
I will take them.
Excellent. First purchase of the day. Would you like them wrapped? Would you like a bag? Do you need a bag? Do you want to just take them out with you? There are no refunds either. No refunds, no returns. Unless you have something to trade.
I think I'm alright.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you, dearie? What would you like?
Oh, just looking for now. Just browsing. I think Fenn will probably take a glance at some of the books. Not after anything factual, just like exciting stories or poetry, something that's more the aesthetic of the book, something that looks pretty.
Okay. A lot of the books are definitely damaged. These are books.
Kendis would be upset about that. How dare!
As you're looking through, running your fingers along the spines, the exposed spines, and bindings of these books, the small halfling woman pipes up again. Is there any story you're looking for? I can't guarantee that it's going to be the best collection of fine literature that you'll find in Monair, but some sailors have some interesting tastes. I remember this one lad that came in just a few days ago had a book of poetry that he wrote himself. Or was it a recipe book? I can't remember, but I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Something new and recently written? Sounds fantastic. I'll take a look. Do you remember what the cover looked like?
Oh, I'll know it when I see it. She hops down. Comes out. She has this sort of very simple, kind of like a dark blue dress with an apron tied over it. Apron looks a bit stained. A little bit of flour on there. Perhaps she was baking in the back room. And actually, there's a slight smell of burning that you can detect now in the air. As she is purely focused on you, her first customers of the day. Oh, let me see. She pulls out from behind one of the shelves that you hadn't seen before another little step stool, snaps it open, puts it firmly in front of her, and walks up. No. Fighting styles of the Elans. No. A collection of bird songs. No. What's this? Frog on a log! And what sounds like an exclamation at first actually turns out to be the very delicately written title of this little journal she pulls out. It doesn't indeed say frog on a log. I think this was it. That boy was so proud of this. I don't know if it's any good.
Oh.
But
what does the cover look like?
So this is just a small, like, leather journal. It looks like frog on a log was kind of carved into it, engraved into the leather. It has just a simple cord binding it around, like a woven cord.
My next role-playing game.
Frog on a log.
Frog on a log.
You open it up, and on the first page there is a fairly impressive drawing of a frog on a log, with a little fly sitting on his head. It's kind of like, it's almost like a children's book of rhymes.
I love it.
And it's all handwritten. There are some misspellings here and there. But the first one is indeed about a frog on a log who is bored of the bog and wanted to travel to see the world.
How much?
My heart!
It's like, it's me.
Well, I asked the young man how much he would want for it. He just wanted to trade for something else. I think he was looking for a gift for his auntie, one of his relatives he was going back home to see. He didn't really have the money for it. This was all he was able to trade. He got quite a nice necklace for it, and she actually starts going off into a little bit of a ramble, thinking about the necklace, and it had these lovely green stones on it, just a little bit of a cluster. I think that came in from one of the tabaxi from Ela a while back. I've had that one forever. At first I thought it was cursed, because when I brought it in, and she just goes on and on and on. And that's when I knew I had to keep the candles away from the books.
Good advice.
Yes, but... Yes! Frog on a log! She looks at you. Looks back at the book. 2 gold. He was quite proud of this. Do you have something to trade, perhaps?
You said it was jewelry that he got in return. I could give you some of mine.
You could tell that she was trying to size you up before she mentioned the price. And she got the feeling.
Yeah.
She's got an eye. She had a feeling that perhaps you would be a little bit more well off than some of her usual customers.
I love that it's 2 gold for a handwritten book and like 7 copper for
They're just candles.
magical candles.
She doesn't know what they are. She tried lighting one, nothing happened. That she knows
is happening though. I want to like duck into the back room and like stop whatever it is from burning.
Do you do so stealthily, or you just
yes
roll for stealth?
23.
We'll get to that. Excellent. Okay, that's good. No idea. No clue. You were able to sneak past back when she was still talking about the necklace and how she thought it was cursed at first. And she goes, I do hope that nothing bad happened to that boy. But, you have something you'd like to trade, perhaps? It's one of a kind. None other like it in the world. And this young man spent a lot of time. Have you seen these drawings? She flips through. There's some flowers. There's some birds. There's one about a bumblebee who bumped his knee. It's called the bee's knees.
Oh, you have to get this book!
Yeah, I have to get this book. Fenn will take off their own necklace and hold it out. Like, will this suffice? It's like on a like gold-colored chain with a little blue stone on it.
Is this one of the ones that you've kept from before?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Okay.
They're most attached to their dangly earrings, so that one's staying.
Those aren't coming off. You're taking the earrings off here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Earrings must stay. But
Yeah.
So you hold out this necklace, and as soon as you reach behind your neck to loosen the clasp, her eyes grow even more wide in anticipation to see what new treasure you may have brought to her humble little shop. And as you hold it up, it shines a bit in the light. You know that there's nothing really like magical or anything like that about this piece anyway. But she takes a look. Oh. And she reaches out and then kind of grabs it from your hand. Oh, that is fine craftsmanship. Is that Tashkili gold?
Fed will just sort of shrug and be like, I guess.
Well, I think this will do quite nicely. Let me see. And she holds it up to the light to look at the stone, looking at the quality, the cut and the clarity and all of that. I forget what the rest of the C's are for diamonds, but you get the idea. Examines the chain. Yes, I think this will do quite nicely. She hands you the book, now without even looking at it, as she now looks for a place to put the necklace. This is lovely. Thank you, dear.
Thank you for the book.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Frog on a log. So as this exchange is happening, Marlowe, while the front part of the store was very cluttered and there was still some sort of organization to it, in the back you see like a small little like 1-bedroom, not really apartment, but like a little studio kind of area. You see a bed that has been made. It looks very, very cozy. You've got a couple of pillows. It's very, very simple. You see even more shelves back here with other things that perhaps have a little bit more of a personal note to them. You see a couple of paintings. You see some letters. And you also see a very small kind of kitchen area with something baking over like a kitchen fire. In a small
something
pot.
Burning
Something burning over a kitchen fire. There is a small, like a black cast iron pot, like a shallow pot there over the fire, over the coals, kind of suspended, and it is uncovered. And you take a look. It looked like it was supposed to be some sort of baked, like a bread or like a skillet cake, griddle cake kind of thing, and it's just blackened at this point. You see a bowl with some batter and some like blueberries and stuff thrown in. It looks kind of like blueberry pancakes.
Oh.
For a more modern comparison, and it's just burning. So if you want to, you are able to look out and kind of quickly try to remove it. There is a small window out the back that faces the river. Can toss it out there if you wish. You don't see anything readily available to toss it, like a bin or a trash can or anything like that. And there's like a little chair. It's all like close quarters. She's a halfling. You have to actually stoop a little bit to just kind of move around more easily in this space. There are things hanging from the ceiling. There's some dried herbs. There's some other like shiny little baubles. It kind of reminds me of like a magpie's nest. Lots of little shiny, like pretty things here and there as well. But you're able to toss it out the window. You can go back out if you wish. It looks like the rest of the breakfast hasn't.
I just kind of want to like stop it from burning and just like set it somewhere because I'm like, maybe she likes burnt things.
Okay. So you just very carefully and gingerly take the pot off of the fire, and there is a small. I'm not going to say receptacle. It's almost like a little three-legged stool kind of thing that looks like you can put something from the fire from there on that. It's more stone. It's not going to burn. It's not going to set on fire or anything. So you're able to put it there.
And then slip out of that room.
Slip back out. And you're able to slip right back out. You did all of that very, very quickly. Right as you see Fenn taking the book from the halfling. And she's already looking away. And as you step out of that back room, she catches your eye and goes, "Oh, well, what are you doing back there? All the interesting things are out here. Would you be interested in a necklace?"
I did want to look at the compasses.
Oh, yes, please, go on, help yourself. And she's still looking for the perfect place to hang her new bit of treasure. So the compasses are some of the ones that you saw are over actually where you found the candles. You're gonna read All right. I need to make a note of frog on a log. Why do we do this to ourselves, GMs?
Oh, maybe I'll save reading Frog on a log for some time so that I can truly ask you in detail.
That's okay. That's okay. I can give you the overview of Frog on a log. Frog on a log befriends a little fly named Fry. Fry the fly. Very simple rhymes. The young sailor was not a poet. Neither am I. But
they've been a genius.
We'll get to Frog on a log. But the compasses, yes, you see a few. Some of them don't really seem to be working too well. There are a couple that would probably catch your eye. There's one that seems to have this beautiful sort of scrolling design on the outside. It's more silver in color, and along the circumference of the closed lid of this compass, it looks like waves. Looks like rolling, crashing waves with another engraving of a ship in the center, in the very middle of it. And as you open that one up, a very simple compass on the inside. There's more of the kind of silhouette of a seagull in flight on that one. There's another that is more brass in color. not quite as intricate in the design, but it has a star, like a 4-pointed kind of star pattern on the front of it, with a small little ruby red gem in the middle of the star. Those are probably the two that are the fanciest. There are some others that are smaller, more like pocket compass. There's also a couple of pocket watches that she's lumped in with the compasses, ranging from different types of metal, mostly brass. There are some silver. There's one that looks more copper-like.
I'll pick up the silver one and a couple of the broken ones.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So you pick up the silver waves compass and a couple of the, we'll say, a couple of the brass ones.
I look at the compass that I've finagled that's on my arm that helps with navigating the stars, which we still have to make an item sheet for.
We do. We do.
But I look at that, and then I look at some of the broken ones and see if I can pick out pieces that I think would be useful or make for an even better compass than the one that I've made already.
Yeah, you'd be able to. So let's see. How many are you picking up?
Probably 2 or 3 of the broken ones.
Okay. So you bring those over with the larger silver one. The silver one is probably it's pretty big. It's probably about the size of your palm. It's larger. The other ones are maybe half that size to varying degrees. So you bring those over to the shopkeep. She's finally found a place for that necklace. She actually placed it rather artfully along with the sort of tarnished tiara that's up there as well, that also has sort of bluish stones on it.
She's doing her best.
She's doing her best, but she seems very, very proud of this little shop. Very excited. So you come up, she goes back behind the table. Oh, you found some more to go with your candles? Okay, what do you have? I don't think those ones are really working as well. Are you sure you want those ones? The silver one is quite nice.
I'm absolutely sure. I do love to tinker.
Okay. Very well, that's fine. Did you have anything you wanted to trade for these ones as well? That silver one is quite nice. I actually hesitate to really let go of that one. I like the way it shines on the shelf over there. The smaller copper ones you can take, or the broken ones you can take for just a couple of copper if you like. That's fine. Although the silver one, it's very nice craftsmanship.
I
Get
pull
it?
out
Because there's a
pocket.
ship on the front. And she lets out a cackle.
You sure? Yep. I pull out of my pocket because I still have some. Those I've polished them at some point, but those marble.
The stone marbles.
But I polished them to a shine,
Pretty.
so it looks like they're really nice.
Yeah, so they look more like actual polished marbles now.
Yeah,
stone.
they look like precious stones.
Yeah, and when you polished them out, you were able to bring out some of those latent earth tones, those hues, and they actually
There's a
have
little bit of a
a
shimmer.
sparkle.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause it was more a sort of quartzy kind of stone that you were working with previously. So
I still have some, so I
you
pull
do
a
still
couple of
have
those
some.
out.
It's well, these are shiny. What?
Because I remember
are
in the
these?
back, she had a bunch of shiny knickknacks hanging
Yes.
around.
Oh yes. What are these? These are very pretty, but I don't know what the purpose for these would be. Are these just marbles? What do you do
They're
with these?
good luck charms.
Oh. Good luck charms.
Just last night, even, this one, and she gestures to Fenn, happened to come into our party's company when we were in need of another.
Go on.
And I like go on about like because I know what it's like traveling with sailors. I know the tall tales that they tell. I know how to like string along a story to make like flourish.
You exactly picked up on why she'd be interested in good luck charms, because sailors in most of your universes and worlds, definitely here in Iyastera as well, there are superstitions, and good luck charms are very
of my pocket. A little like cord, like a leather cord.
Okay.
And I take one from her, and because I know how to tie knots. Of course I do.
You do, of course.
Tie a knot around it so it's like in a little cage, and then like make an adjustable thing so it can be worn as a chain.
Oh my. Oh, I think that would be very, very nice for some of our travelers and traders that come through. Yes, indeed. And she kind of, it's like, oh, this is nice. Can you make the others into these necklaces too?
Of course.
How many would you have to trade? These are very pretty, and it's handmade. Ooh.
So I think I made like 6 or 7.
Okay.
And
okay.
Arad and I used one for something at one. Oh, we used it for the gift.
You put a
the
couple
tree
for eyes.
Right. And then I do want to keep a couple of them.
Yeah.
So
you made quite a few, if I remember right. Yeah.
So I give her about like 3 or 4.
I'd say that's probably fine. These are lovely. Yes. I think this would do nicely. Good luck charms. Okay. I can work with that. She looks at the charm, she looks at the compasses and the silver one and that you've placed before her. Kind of weighs them in her small little halfling hands a bit. If you throw in 7 silver, it's a deal.
I rummage in my pockets, and I like pull out my little journal, and I flip through, and I find one of like, because I have typically when I collect them, I collect at least a couple. So I pull out one of the pressed flowers that's native to somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
And I place it down, and it's like fully preserved, and it looks like really nice and pretty.
I've never seen a bloom like that before. Where's this from? Does it have a story? People love stories.
Oh, you had better sit down for this one. And I go off on a story all about it.
Roll either persuasion or performance. With advantage. Shopping episode. This is fun.
22.
22? Dang! Have you rolled anything less than a 20 so far?
Not today.
I don't think you have. I'm so glad that outburst did not wake my puppy. Oh, he's so tired. Okay. This is beautiful. I think this... I mean, it's rare, it's lovely, and what a story! I can't believe you had to go through all of that just to get this. And I'm so happy you saved your cousin. Okay. I think this will do nicely. Thank you very much for your business, young lady.
Thank you. And I just like scoop the compass and stuff into my pouch.
She starts trying to... She's holding up the flower like, now where do I put this?
As we're leaving the shop, I'm gonna tug Marlowe's sleeve and go, you think meeting me was good luck?
Oh. Oh.
Did I say that?
Maybe it was just part of. I understand it. Part of your just making a bargain. No, that's fine.
You're in good company, Fenn. But baby steps.
Okay.
One step.
Yeah, I can see how I've not exactly brought very good luck so far.
Yeah, it's not balanced perfectly yet.
What if Bob and Kendis been doing that entire time?
Kendis accompanied Bomb to go speak to the Dockmaster.
Yeah.
So, Dockmaster, human, a little bit older, graying hair, just as you are walking up, is going over some paperwork with one of the crews who are getting ready to set sail southward. It's like, yep, everything seems to be in order. Yes, that looks fine. Thank you, Captain. See you again in a month? See you again in a month. We'll be here waiting for you. Thank you. Yes. All right. Next ship's coming in a few hours. All right. You're quite tall. Right.
Yes.
So you're taller. Yeah. And actually, he's going to say that almost exactly in that way as he walks up.
You're quite tall.
Well, you're quite tall.
You're quite observant.
What do you need? Are you looking for passage? You're not traders, clearly.
Passage, yes. The next available ferry.
Okay, well, Captain Marlowe over there just made one crossing already, but he'll probably be ready to take you over in a few hours if you've got the coin. Who all's passing through, and what's your business? Where are you headed?
Apparently shopping. We're headed to just across the river, really.
Okay, well, I'll need to take track or keep record of your names and the number in your party and what your business is. Where you're coming from, where you're going.
I'm Mob. And this here is
Kendis looks at you expectantly. Feathered brow raised.
Featherbrow.
Oh my god.
Roll deception.
Bob is every GM trying to find a name for an unnamed character.
Yes.
It's a
natural one.
Oh no! He already looked a bit confused when you said your name was Mob. But as you hesitated, clearly searching for inspiration, and then came out with Featherbrow, his brow furrows. Now see here. I know those aren't your names. You're gonna have to be honest with me. We get inspected every quarter. I can't be having false information in my books. I've been doing this for 40 years. Pretend my voice sounds more aged and wise than it does. I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm not going to start allowing passage to whatever sort of miscreants and criminals and liars and thieves that are... He starts going on a little bit of a tear.
I'm none of those things. Just okay.
Then why are you giving me a false name? What are you trying to hide? I
I'm
know Captain Marlowe. Captain Marlowe is respectable.
I'm practicing. It's just... I need to be better at... not giving away everything. Being so open about things.
This is adorable.
I mean, the amount of life stories I've given in the last few days. We had someone arrive at our campsite the other night, and I welcomed them in without even slight questioning.
Look here, son. And he reaches up to pat you on the back. You clearly haven't traveled much, have you?
No, that's the issue.
I don't know what sort of wild stories that you've heard growing up. He can't really tell how old you are, but he's just gonna treat you like, you know. But, out here, if someone's gonna lie about something, that means they have something to hide. It's usually a sign that they shouldn't be trusted. You don't have to go telling everyone everything. I don't need to know all your business, but inspections. Our books are inspected. I have to make sure I have some sort of accurate information in here.
Bomb. That's my real name.
And you said it was Mob before.
I'm not very good at this deception thing.
No, you're not. All right. Bomb it is. And where are you headed today, Bomb?
The local port.
Well, you've made it. Congratulations.
The next one, the big one, February.
Felbray.
Yes.
Felbray, all right. And, Featherbrow, I take it? Kendis. Write down Kendis. Brackenhill, thank you. And we have 2 others in our party. They're shopping. I'm sure they'll be here shortly. All right, well, once you're all here, make sure you give me your names, and we'll work with Captain Marlowe to arrange passage.
How much for 4?
Depends on what you're bringing. How far if you're just going directly across. Go ahead.
At what point would we have ducked out of the shop?
You can be walking up at this point if you wish.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're not bringing a strange arcane device.
Why would you? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I need.
Oh no! We set the wrong people, Fenn.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Is it?
Is it? I'm getting some bag out.
Okay.
Your dice rolling. What was that for?
Arcade. And he looks at the book in his hand. It's more like a kind of a larger like flip, like a bound journal kind of thing. It just looks like logs and records and things like that. It's like, were you looking at my book? How'd you know I was going to ask that? And seeing how tall you are, it's like, I was just going to ask if you're having any dangerous materials or cargo of arcane nature or weaponry or anything combustible.
No, not dangerous. Or combustible.
At this point, Marlowe and Fenn, you can walk up. That's fine. you should
Bomb is literally he's almost like completely tight. His whole body's gone tight, and his arms are crossed, and he's like shaking slightly.
Oh,
He feels incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh no.
Yeah, I probably like notice that and like kind of start hurrying to walk over there.
Yeah.
And he keeps gulping.
I'm almost imagining, because furbolgs can sort of adjust their size.
Oh, that's right.
I'm almost imagining you shrinking down.
Yeah, he's shrunk to his smallest size imaginable.
Yeah.
Which is probably still pretty tall.
It's still tall.
But like it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
Because he's got quite a vast sort of posture as well. He pushes himself up and he's quite upright. Mm-hmm. He's all hunched over and smaller.
Yeah.
He looks a lot older than he normally does as well.
Okay.
And he's beginning to perspire profusely now. all that lavender smell is now dissipated.
Oh no!
Really.
At first, the sweat was making the lavender smell a little bit more intense, and then it just became BO.
Yeah, it's just really BO bombed.
Oh no! Why does everything keep working with your name? So at this point, Marlowe, Fenn, you walk up. You see Kendis, who's just shaking their head like, oh, this was a mistake.
Hello.
And Bomb looking very, very nervous. Are these your friends? Are you the other travelers? You're looking for passage, right?
I see you've met our two companions, yes.
Excellent. So I imagine you're crossing as well?
Yes.
All right. What are your names? You're going to Felbrate?
Marlowe. Magoria.
Marlowe. Magoria. Fenn. You notice he's not even asking you to spell them. He's just writing down. Writing your names.
Who's the captain of the ship?
Captain Arlo.
Fremont. Arlo Fremont?
No, not Fremont. Arlo Carpenter. I had to pull up my other notes.
Does he happen to know a captain? To what captain would he know that I've traveled with?
I mean, you don't know. You have not met a lot of riverboat captains. In the
Sailors do tend to know each other.
Sailors do tend to know each other, though. Okay.
Or at least know of each other.
Well, okay. Well, looking at... Actually... it is possible that you would have at some point met Arlo. And as you're all talking here and going over the records and the questions with the dockmaster, Arlo does walk up, or who you assume to be Arlo. Marlowe, roll a history check for me. With advantage, because of your sailing background as well.
That was the same roll. 19.
19, still good. If that was another 20 plus. Still, 19 is good. So... yeah. Human as well. Taller. Looks older than the last time you ran into him. Arlo Carpenter used to be one of the crew members in a rather large ship in the southernmost port Forage, that you have been familiar with, that you actually sailed through quite a bit with Captain Roscoe and that crew. Well, how long were you with Roscoe on the Maristella?
That was the last ship I was on, and long enough to become second.
Long enough to become...
Roscoe's
right.
second.
That's
yeah.
right. So it's been a while then. I would say you probably ran into Arlo before you joined Roscoe's crew in that southernmost point. So he walks up, walks with a little bit of a limp, older, has a few people in the crew behind him on this more it's more of a shorter riverboat compared to some of the longer cargo boats. It really is more of like a ferry to get you across. And he walks up and goes, he squints a little bit. I know you. I'd recognize those watermelon antlers anywhere. He calls them antlers instead of horns as well. He's probably in his, like, 70s now. He's older. He's retired. Like, I met you down at the port. Peig, you worked with Roscoe. Ah, Roscoe, that rascal. I think you almost joined our ship, didn't you? With old Captain Archie.
Almost.
Yeah, so it's coming back to you now with that 19. Arlo was the second for Archie on their ship. I have to come up with the name.
Scriv's like, man, first I have to come up with a frog on a log.
Funnily enough, that's not the first time Frog on a Log has made an appearance. That's a thing. The kids will enjoy that one.
Only eel.
You almost joined us on the Fleetfoot. But no, you went for the Maristella instead, didn't you? Are you still sailing with Roscoe? And you actually start talking now at this point.
I left that ship for Glenferra, funnily enough.
Huh. Glenferra, haven't been there. Is it as mysterious and closed off and secretive as they say? You hear some weird things about Glenferra.
No,
You could say that.
Nothing weird about.
Bomb, shh. We're talking. I'm just like...
Yeah, Bomb's even more nervous. He's growing more smaller and smaller by the minute.
Bomb. Your mother is whispering in your ear, for goodness sake, stand up straight. Stop.
Watch your posture.
You are an adventurer now, son. Act like it.
We are seeking passage across.
Felbray, it's probably not quite the port you're used to. Of course, those bigger ports were a little bit too busy for me. I'm retired now, and it's fantastic.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Thanks. It was a few years ago. But, quiet life. Simple. I like this little stretch of the Marne.
Quiet life's never been for me.
I bet not. Not if you're suddenly inland now and wanting to go to Felbray. Interesting company you keep. I don't think I recognize any of you from Roscoe's crew.
They're not.
I didn't think so. For some reason, that one doesn't strike me as a sailor. Looking at Bomb.
I mean, a boat's safe.
They're as safe as the people running them. And he gives you a nice grin and he's missing a tooth.
Did you
I like Pat
take
Bomb
voluntary retirement?
Let's just say I had my fair share of the high seas. Wanted something a little calmer. And the leg's never been quite the same since... there's plenty of time for that later. Felbray,
Pat Bomb on the
usually
shoulder.
free.
I'm like, you'll be okay.
If you're not bringing any livestock, any cargo, anything dangerous with you, it's just 3 copper per person.
Could
Nothing
we do a
dangerous.
trade?
A
We could help
trade.
your crew out for a bit while we're on board. I like take a peek at the crew. Is there like a ton of them? Do they look like they're needing a bit more help?
So, it's not going to take you that long to cross the river. With the current and everything, just going across, it's maybe like less than an hour.
Oh, right.
Maybe an hour.
I think we can afford that.
I'd say your chances of anything happening between here and there gonna be pretty slim. Besides, with Magoria here, you've got another experienced sailor on board. Don't know what's happening to my voice there. It's the years of exposure to the salt air.
Yes, I do trust her. I just don't trust the open water.
It's a river. I mean, have you not? Let's get you ready.
He's yet to get his sea legs going, and
Morty, are they good? Are they good to go? The dockmaster looks up. That's fine, I've got their names. Felbray, not transporting any goods. They're all yours, Cap. Alright, let's get you aboard. Unless you need there's anything else you need to do. We'll be ready to go in a little bit. 30 minutes.
No, we're good. We need to go.
All right. You guys ready then?
Yep.
Okay. You hand over the copper. Were you looking for a trade?
No.
You were pursuing a trade before. It doesn't take you that long to cross the river.
Okay, yeah.
It's farther to swim. You're not going to be able to swim it. But with the right kind of crew, the right kind of boat, strong enough with these very long-handled posts that they're able to push across and correct the boat and make sure you guys get there. You get there to the other side without any issue. I feel like maybe I unintentionally built this up more than it actually needs to be built up. I don't know. Did I build it up more than it's a broad river, but it is a river.
This whole
it's not like you're crossing the Amazon.
It's like a really memorable area now.
You went shopping. I'm glad it's memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're able to do that. Once the crew gets to work, there's another couple of people that seem kind of familiar, but you never really interacted with. You come to learn that they did follow Arlo when he decided to retire and all of that. Some people kind of stick together. Another human. You've got a couple of half-elves as well. Pushing off. You feel that very strange sensation of bomb. You've been on a boat in the lake before.
Yeah,
but this is definitely a larger ship. It's not necessarily smooth, as they're cutting kind of a strange angle, a very slow angle across the river, kind of using... They're not going directly against the current, but using the natural flow of the river to kind of still take you a little bit farther downriver, but to still get to the other side. You see on the ship that there is some cargo there, all crates strapped down. Towards the bow of the ship, Marlowe, you see something that you are very used to seeing on the larger ships, especially the seafaring ones, the more ocean travelers, we'll say. There is a small icon of Lear with that same kind of twisting sea glass effect as the one that you now have around your neck. You're not used to seeing as many of the, well, for non-Elans, you don't have as many people who wear what you now wear around your neck, because of course Rindarin was from Ela. Ela, you would know, is where the central temple for Lear, the Sea Father, is actually kept. And a lot of the larger ships, with sailors being superstitious as they are, keep small icons accompanied by kind of stone bowls that would typically have water. You would have some sort of small prayer, have some sort of offering. Obviously, this is not as treacherous as the seas can be, but it seems like Arlo still wanted to keep some of that in remembrance of the travels that he did have and the many times that he was seeking protection and guidance from the Sea Father. The mighty Stormbreaker goes by many names, depending on where you're from. But that was kind of something that you would notice on that ship. So you make it to the other side without any real issue. The other side, you have another dock, but it's not like Willow Grove, of course. And you see just kind of a simple path, like a dirt road, wider dirt road leading farther out west, going into the hills, into Capal and the hills and beyond to Felbray. At this point, it's going to be later in the afternoon. You took a little bit more time in the shop, sorting things out with the passage. As you prepare to leave, Arlo gives you a clap on the back. Good to see you again, lass.
You as well.
Will you be coming back this way? Are you heading... No, you said you're heading to Felbray. Well, if you come back this way, we'll be here. We try to ferry people across every few times a day. And in fact, as you are getting ready to disembark the ship, you do see a horse-drawn cart on the other side with a few people getting out, seemingly to have goods to bring across to the other side.
Yeah, so Bomb's carved a little on the end of one of the poles, one of the ferry poles. He's carved like this intricate kind of, and he just kind of hands it to the captain. He says, it was very safe.
Well, thank you. I can't believe you just did this. While we were
Extracting myself from the deep sea.
Does Bomb get seasick?
I feel like Bomb would get seasick.
I think he would if he wasn't
carving.
If he wasn't carving.
Ah, it's gonna be like a coping mechanism.
It's very
like a
focused on it.
distraction
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
Okay.
basically, yeah.
Okay. That is beautiful craftsmanship.
It is, yes.
Huh. Well, thank you. I'd say that's more than worth the 3 copper for your passage. Do you do this everywhere you go? Is this a thing? And he looks at you, Marlowe. Is this guy for real?
Yes.
Very well. Well, thank you, Bomb, Mob, whatever name you're choosing to go by at this point. Pleasure having you aboard. We gladly await your return. And he kind of puts the oar
Yeah.
down. All right. Well, if you don't mind, I've got the next customers. Business
Goodbye,
is flowing. So you get some interesting looks from the people who are unloading the horse cart and now taking their place up to meet with Cat and Arlo. If you want to go straight to the hills and cut across, I would say you have the bulk of the rest of the afternoon into the evening where you'd be able to travel. You are able to travel this, it's a well-traveled road. This is going to be the main road that leads to Capal. You can see points where it'll branch off. You could have walked farther down the river southward as well. The road, there's another part where it will fork farther north. Kind of a longer path that will take you at least to the hills. But you would probably want to take that one versus going a little bit farther south to Capal, it sounds like. There are going to be other people who are traveling on the roads as well. And as you walk through the rest of the day, honestly, it's going to be a little bit quieter right now. You are now in an area that is not as heavily populated as on the other side of the river. And Fenn, you would know this. You know where, for the most part, where you would be going. I would say as you are approaching nightfall, you see these rolling hills kind of looming ahead. Fenn, you know that within these hills, there is definitely a lot of wildlife. There are going to be other travelers, perhaps. And you were able to pass by some travelers along the road. Not quite as many the farther north you went versus ones who are probably coming from Capal, traveling elsewhere. All on different carts and things, not as many travelers just going on foot. You'll want to probably camp before you go into the hills, Fenn, you know. Making use of daylight is going to work to your advantage. There are different waypoints, different travelers' rests within the hills that you would be able to make use of, and you ran into a little bit of this when you were on your way out, those can often be prime locations for any other bandits or creatures that are drawn to the fire and the sounds of life as you are going through.
I'll share all this with the group.
Yeah, there are certainly bears in those woods. You ended up having to try to scare one off one evening.
Pots and pans banging together.
Pretty much. So you would be able to camp here again. You'd be able to continue along. But you are now heading west into the hills. You don't really know what you're going to find there. Fenn, you remember that the last time you had your encounter with the market, it was somewhere in these hills. But of course, the next new moon is quite a ways away. And perhaps you'll find more of the information and more of the start to get you to the Athenium once you arrive in Felbray. So I would say you camp for the evening. You kind of share your wares a little bit. You show what you've been able to find.
Does Fenn read us a passage from Frog and the Log?
Yes, I will read it out loud for everyone to hear. I get a slightly furtive look at Kendis, wondering if this is going to bother them. But they're going to do it anyway. Whether it bothers them or not, but they're very much cautious of the fact that they're prone to irritating Kendis. And yeah, they'll read the first passage of Frog on a Log and show everybody the lovely illustration.
They're doing like kindergarten reading style where they're like
that's exactly how this is going to be. So you're reading of the frog who left the bog and was looking for adventure in the big wide world. He met a fly named Fry. That was his first friend. Continued along, looking for a third. Looking for friends to make 3 because that's the perfect number for tea. And the story goes on in that manner. Once upon a time. So it's very charming with the little pictures that are drawn. Eventually, they meet a hare named Claire. And it ends with this adorable little picture of the frog and the fly and the hare sitting on a little sitting around a mushroom cap table, having tea.
I liked the story.
Me too.
I like the pictures.
I agree, they're incredibly well done. Fenn hands the book over to Bomb if he wants to have a leaf through any of the other pictures.
Yeah, the pictures are actually pretty good. So it's not bad for some illustration.
I shall work a frog into our carving.
Oh, that's adorable.
Not a hare though. Not very good at hares.
Something about the ears.
May I ask, what is the carving project you're working on? What's it going to be when it's finished?
It's Marlowe. It's what am I doing the carving for?
It's a chest.
Yes, a chest.
Oh, lovely.
It shall hold
items that we come across.
Yes.
Always important to have suitable, beautiful exterior for any wonders one might come across on their travels.
Not wonders, just practical items to put in it. Nothing special, nothing
Normal
dangerous.
things.
Kendis and Marlowe are just like,
can I roll an insight check on this?
Yes, you can. Normal human things that humans would have.
Yeah, that is a 18.
oh no.
Bomb, would you like to roll deception?
Yeah. Really? That's 6.
Oh, Bomb. Bomb.
Bomb.
So for that, you can't read minds with insight, but you can tell because you started noticing how Bomb gets nervous. You started noticing his tells. Ears turning a little pink.
I'm shrinking, which is quite a big
Shrinking a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, just normal, practical,
terrible poker
things.
player.
Act natural.
Yep. It's clear that there's something else that this is meant for, but he's not gonna say it.
It's... Marlowe shoots a glance at Bob. It's just like, for any sort of arcane artifacts we might come across, like this book, for example.
Of course. Makes complete sense.
Yes, that's the one. But I shall put a frog. I shall carve a frog into the side in honor of your lovely story. I shall go on to the next one later, if that's okay. While I take my watch.
Of course.
The flatulent badger.
Oh, yes.
Perhaps, sure. Yes, that's great, Bomb.
I mean, badgers with, tummy troubles and flatulence, it's not going to be as comfortable in the den after a while, so the trials and tribulations of a badger with bowel issues. Body storage, I knew it. Oh no. Cyrus, no. So with this, Kendis is just kind of tut-tutting. Getting the fire ready herself this time as well, while you're talking about frogs and logs and books and boxes and things of that nature. Still keeping a bit of a distance from you, Fenn. Can tell that they're trying to size you up. They're trying to get a read on you. But the fire is going. Tea is being brewed. And you start to make your camp again for the evening here in the shadow of the hills of Western Monair. A remarkably smooth day compared to that rough start that you had the night before.
Very much so.
But if you like, we can take a break there. Or would you like to continue on? I know it is getting a bit late. But
I
that
think
could
that's
be
a
a
good
nice
spot to.
that could be a nice stopping point. So
End with the
ends day
stories.
2 of your adventure.
Yeah.
You found
Two-parter.
some treasures. You spent more time in Willow Grove.
Yeah.
Getting a
Bomb.
feel for the place. No one died.
was on
Good
the
job,
ferry.
everyone. Very true,
I
Cyrus.
died, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, the ferry didn't collapse, so
The ferry did not collapse, thankfully.
No one went overboard.
no one overboard.
Nor did it get stuck and block the canal, river.
But what?
Wow.
What?
That never happens. Professionals. Professionals. Well, that's where we will end this session then. So ends episode 3 of chapter 2 of Heroes of Iyastera.
That was the pastoral session.
It was.
Our first full day with Fenn.
Yes.
Very true. You learned a bit.
I did at least.
A little bit, yeah.
The other two were sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob knows nothing more.
I imagine you'll be talking again around the campfire, sorting out who takes watch. Kendis actually, well, I don't want to speak for Kendis. We'll see if Sash wants to take first watch, but my first thought is Kendis would probably take first watch. Being a little bit more on edge and not enjoying being woken up by combat. So that's what we'll do. Outros! Thank you so much, everyone. I'm very happy we were able to have our session this evening. As I mentioned previously on Twitter, I am still in the middle of moving house, so it's probably going to be a couple more weeks of Thursday-only streams, at least until things calm down and I get settled. Moving to another country, getting all of that sorted. I'll be able to go back to twice-a-week streams once I actually have my next house and I have my new place to live and all of that. You know how it is. But, folks, do you guys have anything to share before we close out the stream? Thank you all for coming. It's really good to see you guys again. I enjoyed this little slice of life shopping episode.
Shopping montage.
My name's Rich. I'm Hatchling DM pretty much everywhere. I developed a game called Inspirals. It teaches sign language as you play, and it's with layout now with Anna, our team member. So I'm just waiting for that to be glorified for the public. I've got loads of streams and stuff coming up booked in. So you'll see me in a bunch of places, I imagine.
Absolutely.
And I came up with a brilliant idea for a future role-playing game, which only Scriv knows about. So that's quite exciting.
Oh.
Yeah.
No spoilers. I'm not telling.
No spoilers. Yeah. It's not for a couple of years.
I only offer premature spoilers on my own projects,
Yeah.
not those of others.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. That's me. Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Jenn, anything to share? What you got on the horizon?
You can find me on Twitter at Jenn Peig. I'm a freelance illustrator and artist, currently doing some things with illustration and art stuff that I can't talk about right now. You can find me every Thursday on the Geekly Inc. channel, playing a Rime of the Frost Maiden campaign, as well as we're taking a week off this week, but next week we will be back on Mowdy Nerds channel playing an alien RPG. I believe that's our last session of a mini-series.
Oh, that's gonna be so good.
I don't know how we're gonna make it out. I don't know.
Oh man. Well, what's the situation that you're going into?
So we just finished Act 2. It's a 3-act thing, and all of the tech just stopped working. Our APCs stopped working.
Oh no!
One of our rifleman gun person popped their head out, to like survey the scene around us.
Yeah.
There's alien ships overhead, acid, there's people dying around us, and we pop back in our little thing and we're like, oh no.
Oh man.
How are we gonna
That's
make
a
it out?
lot.
Because
That's
we're
intense.
supposed to get back to Fort Nebraska, our like home base,
Yeah.
and then get out of there. So we were heading there, and then it started going downhill, and we're like, I don't know how we're gonna get out of this.
Oh my gosh. Well, that'll be exciting. Tune in for that exciting conclusion. It'll be fine, possibly. Maybe.
Follow me on Twitter to know if we make it out alive.
Face
Yeah.
there's no chance.
Yep, I've dropped the heroes command in there so you folks can see once again everyone's Twitter handles.
Yeah.
Fenn, Kit, what you got?
Hello, I'm Kit. You can find me at Argon Skies, art most places, and just at Argon Skies here on Twitch. I'm also an artist. At the moment, the only thing I've got on really is on Mondays we're having our Pirate Mondays over on my channel, in which we're designing a new pirate character every
That's
Monday. Which has slowly developed into a straight up one shot that I'm going to be GMing with these characters, designing a character for people in the chat each time, and we've all got together and decided, well, we need to play them now. So it's going to be a two rival pirate crews competing for the same treasure one shot that's going to happen at some point in the future, which is very exciting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, those are on Mondays, the pirate streams.
Very good. Monday's pirate streams. Kendis, typically played by Sash, aka Spirit Jam. As you know, was not able to join us today, but check out all of the updates for their lit mag and all the other cool projects that they've been working on. Kendis is out IRL exploring the world and doing some real life adventures at the moment, which we're very excited to hear about after the fact, but they'll be back with us for the next session, I'm sure. As for me, you know where to find me. I'm here currently once a week, every Thursday. Next week, probably we'll see what's going on life-wise. It'll either be Chill Creation again, maybe have some more people on, or I'll do some Horizon Zero Dawn. Get back to a little bit of chill gaming with you folks. We'll see. Keep an eye out on Twitter. Join the Discord if you have not already. Another kind of cool thing coming up, I will be working with the Rule of Lore folks to do some sort of like cool sort of support or content thing for their upcoming charity stream series. Unfortunately, the timing didn't quite work out for me to actually be on one of their streams. A little bit too much of a time difference between here and West Coast Pacific time back in the US. But they are going to be raising money for the last couple weeks of this month for Asian Americans advancing justice. And I'm very, very excited to be working with them on something. I'm not going to tell you too much what it is yet because it's still taking shape. But keep an eye out for that. All updates can be found on Twitter. And that's about it. That's all I've got going on right now that I'm going to talk about. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming to join us again for our fun little shopping episode. Next session, maybe a little bit more engaging. Or a little bit more interesting in terms of things you may or may not find as you're going directly into the hills. We'll just put all those notes for Kapal to the side, save them for another time, perhaps. So that's all good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You know where to find us. Follow everyone on Twitter if you have not done so already. But most importantly, keep adventuring, keep scribbling, and we will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.